thanks so much for coming back and joining us today. We are the Pot Smoking Moms. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are Jokin' and Token. I don't know. That's the catchphrase that I'm trying out. I don't know. Eventually we will get there. Okay. But if this is your first time joining us, you can reach us at potsmokingmoms.com. All of our social media is there. You can listen to our podcast from there and communicate with us. We love hearing from you guys. Joining us today, we have the wonderful Captain J. How's it going?
Hello, everybody.
Me, Sunny D, your wacky Canna mom, and we got a very special guest. She actually joined us on our 420 sesh, and we've built a relationship with her ever since. Sunflowerzee is how you can reach her on Instagram. She's a tree-hugging, bare feet beach walking yoga and cannabis healer. She loves being around trees and the beach, just like Captain J, while spending time with her family. She's been practicing yoga for 5 years and recently obtained her yoga certification. So hopefully we'll be hosting some yoga smoke sesh.
Yeah.
Let's welcome Zainab. How you doing?
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And we ask people to communicate with us because usually we try to pick everybody's brain to see they ask us questions. And so one of the questions that comes up a lot is using cannabis while being pregnant, while breastfeeding, and we're gonna explore that topic with Zainab because she has had a firsthand experience, and I think it would be great for her to speak with all of our listeners and all the community that we've built. It's really good to kind of get firsthand experiences, and that's what we're all about. So we'll be hearing about that as well. Mother's Day. You guys have any plans for Mother's Day?
Eat.
I actually do. I'm like kind of freaking out that I'm actually like venturing out.
But you're leaving your home.
Yeah, I am. I'm leaving my home to go to my mother's home. Everybody's been, very careful over there in their house also. And my cousin is actually coming to visit because my aunt lives very close to my tia. She lives really close to my mom. So my cousin wants to come down and surprise her mom, my tia, with her kids. So I mulled it over for the last week and I'm like going back and forth about it because I was really unsure whether or not to do it. But in the end, I decided to go ahead and do it because my mom's been really sad that she's not going to be able to come over here and we're not going to be able to be with her. And then my cousin's going to be there with her kids and none of her kids are going to actually be there. So I'm going to be surprising her. She doesn't know we're coming. I already told her, no, you're crazy for letting them come over. You shouldn't have anybody at the house. Like she thinks I'm like all against it and then I'm not going to go. So after actually we're done recording this podcast, I'll be driving over there. I live in Hialeah. She lives over in Tampa. So it's a little over 3-hour drive. It's like 3.5 hours. And my cousin who lives there in the home with her right now is going to let me in. So she doesn't even know we're going to be there until she wakes up the next morning on Mother's Day and we'll be there. So
that's sweet.
Yeah, I'm excited, but I am nervous because it's like, oh my God, we've been quarantined.
I know.
I'm going to see family or doing anything like that.
Or etiquette, you're kind of awkward because we stopped by my mom's house yesterday to bring her some stuff and move my car and stuff because I have my car sitting at her place, and it's just like kind of you get nervous because you're like, well, what do we do? I don't want to like put anybody in danger, but at the same time, it's rough. Like seeing my daughter run up to my mom and like them hugging, and she didn't want to wear a mask. I was trying to wear a mask, but we've been pretty quarantined for a while, and it's just like. You miss it. And especially when they're older, I have an older parent, so, it's rough. You got to check up on the family members too, because they feel very lonely and it's such a vulnerable time for them.
Yeah, my grandmother has no guests and has not been able to even hang out with any of her friends. She lives in a retirement community, the same one your mom lives at. And so she's no interactions and she doesn't know how to get on a Zoom call, So my uncle was actually going to go visit her on Mother's Day. So we coordinated with him to get on a Zoom call with her and us, so we could all at least be together virtually. But yeah, with an older parent like that, you have to be even more careful. I keep forgetting your mom's older.
Yeah.
My mom's young. She's 55.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's fun. My mom, it's just, you know, it's a different thing. She had me very late in the game. I thought I was a mistake for a long time, but she, you know, she's there, and we're, for Mother's Day, I'm working, staying home, not doing much. I mean, you know, what's up? You're gonna eat, you're gonna have a food fest?
Probably. I would love to go to my mom's, but it was my sister's birthday yesterday and we went already, and I feel like it gets excessive.
Yeah.
I have a lot of siblings. I'm the oldest of 9. On my
That's
mom's.
a lot of you.
Yeah. So they've all been stuck in the house because they're all young, so they don't really go anywhere. So I still feel really confident and good about that. My mom is probably the only one who leaves, and even then she doesn't even really work with her clients directly. She like calls them down, they come down and get their meds, and she doesn't even come into the building. And so I feel it does make me feel very nervous about everything, but I mean, it's just nice to have like somewhat of a safe haven to still enjoy during crazy times.
Yeah, like we got to continue social distancing and being careful, but it comes to a certain point with your family, you have to just allow it, and just all agree, okay, we're all being careful, we're all gonna, you know, still we're Latin, so we're very used to hugging and giving kisses when we see each other. And we were raised, when you walk into a room at a family function, you better say hello to every person there by giving them a kiss. So it's very strange for us. You know, at least we're getting together and just not doing that. No more.
It's very strange because they were saying only so many people can gather, and I was like, literally, my
whole family,
my household is just that. I'm like, there's nobody extra coming in or coming out, so that was a little tricky. But
well, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good Mother's Day, and I'm going to the beach. I'm so excited because over here on the East Coast, over here, the beaches aren't open yet. Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach are not open yet, and beaches are not open yet. They're not going to open beaches anytime soon. But on the West Coast, people know how to handle themselves a little better. So they actually have the beaches open, and the cases aren't as extreme. There are not as many cases over there. Obviously, we have a lot more here. But so the beaches are actually open, and I've been seeing my aunt post pictures from the beach, and I'm like so excited because the water has never looked so clear, so beautiful than how it looks now, because people haven't been in it.
It's beautiful outside, and the weather's not like hot and sticky, and it's like it's weird. It's like a crisp, sunny, I don't know. It's been like that. Amazing. I would love to see the beach, so I hope you have a really good time. I hope everybody has a good time for Mother's Day.
The weather where I stay is extremely dry and hot. It's like nice California weather, but there are some times where I'm like, I don't want to do this heat anymore.
Yeah, we have that, but with humidity.
Yeah, we're the opposite. We have humidity. Is it because you're closer to the desert that it's like real dry?
Yeah, definitely. And then it's like it's a small town called Hemet, so it's like very dry and boring and in the middle of nowhere. People are like, where's that? It's in California.
Well, if we ever make it to Cali next year, hopefully, we're trying.
Yeah, we want to do a little.
How far are you from like LA or like those areas?
Like an hour, not even. Yeah, I go to LA all the time. That's where most of my family is from. Because I was born and raised out there in LA, so we stay pretty close. We were going back and forth to visit, but now, you know, since all this stuff happened, I feel deprived.
So we also we're actually having a giveaway for Mother's Day, too. So if you guys, we're going to announce it Mother's Day. So when you're listening to this, it's already out there. You guys could sign up for the giveaway. It's like a couple of really cool prizes. you know, a lot of people aren't so open with their smoking, so they would prefer to maybe tone it down with some sprays. We have no smell, no tell spray to spray for kind of concealing odors, and Sploofy the air filter. We're giving some of their stuff away, and we're doing like our own merch now, which we're pretty excited about. A lot of people wanted some merch, so we're making some merch now, and we'll be also giving away a few little items that we'll be selling ultimately. So that's cool. That'll be fun. Sign up for the giveaway. Look up our Instagram post for details and rules and all that good stuff. Yeah, so hopefully everybody had a great Mother's Day. So let's talk to you, Sunflowerzee. She's actually Sunflowerzee on Instagram, or you can email her at sunflowerzee@icloud.com. We'll go ahead and put the spelling on there because it's Sunflowerzee, and you can communicate with her through there. She has a blog. You have a blog that you're that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been blogging for a long time now. I think it's 8 years, kind of off and on mostly. I like would write here and there, and then I put it on hold and then come back to it. So right now the blog is on hold because I started shifting my focus towards
Yoga,
building my sunflower peace boxes and just doing yoga.
and what your Sunflowerzee boxes?
Yeah, sunflower peace box. So basically it's just a series of items that kind of help during like meditation. So a lot of people who first start their yoga journey kind of don't know where to begin. So there's going to be like a few items that are going to be incorporated to help along like a person's practice or personal journal practice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's probably going to come out in a few months because I have like a few things to still perfect on it and like put together, and I'm working on a lot of artwork with my sister. She's an artist, so it's like so tedious, all the little details.
Girl, you don't even think about all the details until you're in it. Like we were like, oh, podcast, that'll be fun. Let's do it. And then we start doing it and we're like, holy shit, we have to like promote it and connect with people and like build it from the floor up. And it's like, it is a lot more work than you originally think, but that's cool. And you're using your creative energy, especially right now. I think that helps everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
So how did you get into yoga? How did that start?
So I was going through a lot of grief at the time, and I had just like lost my son. I had a stillbirth when I was in high school. And then a year later, my dad passed away. So I was going through like a really, really tough time. I was working at the bank, super stressed out.
Oh my God, I worked at banks, I know.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't really stay long. Like it wasn't my forte. But a coworker was like, let's just go de-stress. Let's go like chill out. Let's go do some yoga. And I was like, yoga? I don't know about all that stretching stuff. I'm not flexible. So then we ended up going to a class, and I really, really loved it. And it just so happened the instructor was talking about a retreat in Thailand, and it just kind of blew my mind that people could do something like that and live off of that and share their experience. And so that was back in 2015, and I've been practicing ever since. And it's just kind of helped along that like grief journey, helped me heal in a lot of different aspects of my life. And you kind of take the lessons you learn on the mat and you take them off the mat and kind of walk through that daily.
Yeah, man. And that was definitely a rough period with miscarriage. I think all of us can speak to miscarriages because it's hard, and then you kind of feel alone, and especially in your situation, like me and Jay had miscarriages at like 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
I was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You said stillbirth. So how far along were you? 9 or 8 months?
Yeah, I was 36 weeks.
My stepmother also had
That's
a
hard.
stillbirth. Did you have to go through labor?
Yeah, I went through the full labor. It took me about a day, and then I had my son. His name's AJ, so we named him, and we got to have like a little ceremony for him. And that song "Over the Rainbow" by the Hawaiian Israel, that's like his song. So every time it plays, it's so random, but it's like that nice peace in my heart that kind of comes back every now and then, lets me know. And even like before we had our son now, we felt like we got signs from like the heavens or something, because we saw a license plate with AJ in it. It was just like all of these random things. So it's like, it's a sad time, but like I said, I've healed a lot. And I think that's like a part of the whole cannabis journey, and how it's brought me to who I am today, and why I decided to even continue using cannabis along my journey. And like, it just kind of all ties back into the same lifestyle that I've carried for a while.
When did you start using cannabis?
I experimented every now and then. My mom wasn't really like strict. She was like very open. And so I would like talk to her about a lot of things. But that was like one thing I was scared to talk to her about. So I think I want to say it was probably like right after high school, I started like really experimenting and smoking. And that was like after everything had happened. And so I was like, well, maybe I can try that. And I tried like anxiety pills, and it just really wasn't my forte. I'm not a huge medical like pill popper anyway. So I prefer the alternative method. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And did you, let me ask you this, because this is kind of personal to me too.
Mm-hmm.
When you with AJ, did you smoke cannabis at all while you were pregnant with him?
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. I didn't drink, didn't smoke. I mean, because you're not supposed to, because it's not healthy for the baby. Drinking at least. And yeah, I didn't do anything. I had like a normal pregnancy. The only thing I would say was the bad part was that I had the spitting going on. So like, I don't
You
know
had
if
a
you
lot of mucus?
know, it's like
A lot of
hypersalivation.
saliva.
So I carried around a cup. I carried around like a Pringles thing. I was like, it was
Wow.
intense. It was so intense for the whole 9 months. And so when I had my second son, this is Tristan. Yeah, I was like, I'm not going through that shit again. It was really, really tough. It was really tough on my body. And then coming around the second time, it hit me a little bit harder.
So were you experiencing like major like pregnancy side effects and yeah?
Yeah, so I had they call it hyperemesis gravidarum or something. I
Yeah,
can't.
hypermenses.
Yeah, I don't know how to say the name, but basically you just throw up all the time. Doesn't even
Yeah.
matter. Morning sickness 24/7, and I had that throughout my entire pregnancies, both of them. My first one, like I said, I didn't do anything, and the second time around, I was like, I had already been using cannabis for like my anxiety and stuff, and just kind of managing that way with my yoga practice and incorporating it in my healing practices. And when I got pregnant, I was like, I'm going to experiment. Maybe it could just help me out, because it got to the point where like my mouth would salivate so much, it would make me gag, and I couldn't eat. I had to have high protein. Like there were so many different factors I had to put into it. So it was a journey. It was kind of difficult, but I feel like the cannabis part of it really helped me get through. I was able to hold food down. Usually you get cotton mouth when you smoke.
Uh-huh.
The cotton mouth would dry my mouth, so I wouldn't be spitting or throwing up all. Like I felt like I was somewhat a person, because I really didn't feel like one.
Yeah, it's hard enough as it is. Luckily for me, I had like pregnancy symptoms and things that I dealt with, but it wasn't like severe. It was not hypermenses. Like
Yeah.
it was, yes, I would have sickness and it would come and it would go, but I was able to manage it well. I wouldn't I really that having something harder like that and not being able to medicate because you can't take any other pills,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know?
They prescribed me some stuff. They prescribed me some, it's called like promethazine or something, but it's not the codeine part of it. I don't know. It's like some nausea medicine.
Yeah.
But it happened to be in a very high level category for birth defects in infants and children. And so I even tried it. I did take the medicine like a couple times, and it got to the point where it knocked me out. I was so drowsy. I could barely walk to the bathroom. My husband had to like carry me to the bathroom just to take the nausea away. Like it was bad. I did not like feeling like I was out of control. Like I couldn't have control over my own health, over my body. I was already feeling all crazy.
Yeah, and pregnancy will do a
I
number
was
on you.
I was very lucky. I didn't have any symptoms like that. So
Yeah,
that's why. I don't know. Number 2, I don't know. Well, technically number 3, because.
So when did you decide that maybe cannabis would be a good option to help with all those symptoms? Like at one point?
My husband and I were living in Washington at the time, and Washington State, and they are amazing with their cannabis community. Like, we really went into detail about all of the health benefits and stuff, and talked to a lot of the bud tenders in some of those shops. So we were pretty informed on a lot of different ways to go about it, and I knew that I wanted to try again, but I didn't know how having a baby would affect my body. So we were coming back to California after we found out, and I, like, as soon as I found out, like 2 days later, all of these symptoms just hit me so hard. And I was like, I have no idea how we're going to travel with 2 dogs in a car, and I'm pregnant. I'm experiencing like all these feelings. So my husband was like, well, what about trying a pen? And we went back and forth with that. And I was like, I feel bad, like I really did feel bad. I wasn't as educated as I thought I was, because I didn't feel comfortable in taking like something that was natural. Like I let society kind of confuse me a little bit, I would say. But that was like the moment for me where I decided like, I'm going to take my life into my own hands and stop worrying about what other people think about me and do what's best for my body. And so I got a CBD pen, which had THC as well. So I was able to sleep the whole car ride. I didn't throw up as much, except the time I had like McDonald's on the way, and it was terrible. But yeah, that was probably the moment I decided that was going to be along my journey.
And I think something that is why a lot of people kind of reach out to us and ask us is because there's not a lot of stuff, there's not a lot of information out there, there's not a lot of resources, especially for cannabis use while pregnant, because people they frown down upon that. There's no research, there's no solid research, because they haven't taken the time, and they think it's too risky. But we're in a place right now where people need to start doing that kind of research, because
women are doing it.
They're doing it, and we're seeing good results from it. We're not seeing the long term, or we haven't seen damaging effects. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff out there too for that, but it's when you're trying to kind of weigh out your options, it's hard when you don't have that information there. And I think pot smoking moms became a thing for us because I started looking for information about smoking while pregnant. Mm-hmm. I was lucky, and I didn't need to use cannabis. I might have used it a little bit, 1 or 2 times, but I definitely wanted to know more about it. And I looked and looked and couldn't find any information. But what I did find was a community, and that's how all this started. Is my kind of like me looking into that led us here, and then us getting asked. We ourselves don't have the experience to be able to talk to it, but that's why we brought you here, is to kind of answer some of those questions that people have out there.
It's an interesting experience. Like I was very quiet about it for a long time. I mean, personally, even before that, I was I felt like my cannabis use was sacred to me. I felt like not everybody needed to know what I did with my time, and that was just kind of how I kept it. But as I progressed through my pregnancy and it got a little bit harder, like health wise, I just didn't know how else to manage. And I started like posting things on Instagram about like, you know, mom smoking weed aren't bad and type of thing. And then I would get a lot of good feedback on that. And so it just kind of opened my eyes, like, and I realized a lot of people did have questions. And the only reason I feel like I even know half the stuff I know is because I really did the research. Like, I really went, searched around, listened to other podcasts, listened to other people's experiences, and really took my own notes and went with my best judgment. And I mean, even other friends were like, you know, what about CPS? And, you know, I don't want them to take my kids. And I was like, well, if you have a support system and your support system is well informed and you are well informed, you can advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
good. And
that's it. Advocate.
That
And
gives you
how
the power.
much
Yeah.
cannabis like use for you would you say you were using on a daily basis? Like how like
I would say it would be like maybe twice a week, maybe.
And was it like just to manage symptoms when things would get a little bit?
It would literally be to manage symptoms. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I would say the symptoms kind of subsided. So there was a point where I just like didn't care to smoke or like do anything. I was taking CBD oil for a little while. I would always do like a mix, CBD, THC, because I just didn't want to be so high. I just wanted something to help with the symptoms.
Yeah.
So it was probably like twice a week.
Yeah, and the CBD counteracts the psychoactive effects of the THC. It's a good balance when you have both.
Right.
And did your son ever test for THC? Do you know? They've never said that they tested it or anything. Because I think that's a lot of the worries, like you said, that women have is because there have been stories where I've heard where women, their child tested positive for THC in their system, and then they had CPS monitoring them for months, and they had to have random visits, and they had all these things happening to them. And I couldn't believe that actually was happening to women for choosing something that helped them during their pregnancy.
It was very scary, to be honest, because I mean, stepping into the unknown is kind of scary in general. And like dealing with anxiety disorder, like for me, I am always cool, calm, and collected until a moment happens. And then in that moment, I can't think properly. My brain's really scattered, and it stays like that for a while. The effects are like kind of long and lasting. So when CPS did show up, I was concerned and I was blaming myself, and I was like, I'm a terrible mom. And like, I just had to really rethink my thoughts. And I was like, you know what? I've done the best I can to make sure that I brought a child healthy into this world. And he is here. He's my rainbow baby. Like, I had to really think on a higher scale. And when they tried to come in and say whatever they said, like, I felt like my situation was a little different because I would ask them questions like, oh, what are you testing for? You know, what are you doing this for? Like, why do you do that? Just because I want to know. It's my body. You're taking stuff from me, and I'm in the hospital. And yeah, I would have to say, like, we asked the hard questions, which made them feel uncomfortable. And I don't really think they like that. And my baby didn't test positive for THC at all. They said I did. And I mean, of course, if I'm smoking here and there, of course, like, it would be in my system.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I think they just don't know. They don't have enough research, and it's not done enough. They're not asking the right questions. I just feel like sometimes they do target some people.
Definitely.
And they use big scare tactics.
Why? Okay, so I'm a little bit lost here though. Like, do CPS automatically, do you and your baby automatically get tested, or is it when you're open about it or you're honest with your physician? Like, do they pick and choose who they test? How does that even go down? Because
I think they test all babies and all mothers towards like the end. It's just part of your testing when you're like preparing for labor. I'm not entirely sure, But
Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
do shitload of blood tests, but that's one of
exactly.
the things they test, like
Well,
automatically.
from what I was talking to the social worker about, she said that they usually run tests like that all the time. But she said that, and I don't know if it's like true or not, because I did ask. Originally, I was supposed to give birth at the birth center. Everything's natural. Not that they don't care that you smoke, but they, of course, they inform you of everything. So going into the hospital was one very treacherous for me. And then when we did go into the hospital, I knew we had a slight chance that they were going to test us, one, because the color of our skin, like we are African American, and my husband and I look very young. Hell, I feel like we look like stoners, like we're just stoner people. It is what it is. But they really had no reason to test us because we didn't come high, we weren't acting crazy. I had a birth plan. I had my doula there, my midwife was there. Like I had the support I needed, and I don't know why they tested. I really don't. I feel like they just kind of pick and choose sometimes.
I think it's protocol. I think it is. I think it's part of protocol. Because I've heard of a lot of different women having this issue. But I just,
I've been on the
if the
opposite end.
baby is healthy, I don't see what the problem is.
I've been on the opposite where I've had friends who smoked a lot more than I did. I'm not judging anybody. They consumed a lot more than I did, and they weren't tested.
Wow.
Nothing happened. And so that's why in my head, I was thinking like, maybe it's okay. Maybe I can smoke weed and, have my own personal use and do what's best for my body. But then like a lot of other friends were coming back with the backlash, like you shouldn't smoke and you shouldn't do this. And I'm like, but are you guys raising the baby? Are you growing this human inside you? Are you dealing with what I'm dealing with on a daily basis? Like, no, to each their own. I was like, I've done enough research to know. So it's like, I feel like it's a sliding scale. They might test some people, they might not.
And a lot of the prescription drugs that doctors give you to deal with those symptoms when you're pregnant are not even properly tested either, and cause side effects and have all sorts of issues. So you should have the right to choose what medicine works best for you.
I definitely agree with that. And I really think that I heard that the University of Washington was doing recent studies of pregnant women and cannabis. And these are isolated studies because the original ones had cannabis use, alcohol use. It was like all these other drugs, including cannabis. So it was kind of like misinformation. It's like, how can you guide anyone or tell them what's technically, I guess, right or wrong if the studies aren't even isolated?
Yeah, if the studies aren't kept accordingly, or it's hopefully now with the way it's going, I really hope they start throwing money into research and so have you noticed anything from him? Like, he's so cute, my God, I just can't stop staring at him. That his cheeks. Have you
Go ahead.
Because people are usually like kind of worried too of the effects, since it's not recorded, nobody knows. So you on the 420 sesh, you were boasting and so prideful of how smart, and like there's nothing that
Yeah. My baby's so smart, huh? I feel like he's already talking. He says a lot of things.
And how many weeks is he? How many months is he?
He's 3 months. He's 3 months.
So tiny.
Yeah, he'll be 4 months on the 22nd. So he's chunky. He eats all the time. Like, I don't know. This child eats on demand, and he gained his weight actually. When they're first born, I guess they lose a certain amount of weight and then they get back. He almost tripled his birth weight in like a few weeks. I don't know. He's
you're breastfeeding, right?
Yeah.
And then you're still using cannabis while breastfeeding too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was using I had some cannabis while I was pumping. Not very successful with breastfeeding, so that didn't last very long. So kudos to you, because that shit is hard.
Man. And surprisingly, I don't think that the cannabis really affects my breast milk either, because I've heard theories on that, like, does it affect the breast milk? I actually produce a lot of milk.
Awesome.
Like, and I've had a few beers since I've, had the baby, drank a wine here and there, whatever. And I felt like that affected him more than any of my cannabis use. And, I'm not like smoking all day and then, chilling with the baby for 5 minutes. It's like I have my mommy time at the end of the night when he's asleep and he's, knocked out, and it's just me and maybe my husband. We just want to chill.
Yeah.
He's so
cute.
Yeah, I think he's so brilliant, though. He's really smart. He loves books. I think the CPS was really just tripping because they just don't have enough research on their end. It had nothing really to do with what I was doing.
So what ended up happening, though?
To them, you were consuming a controlled substance while pregnant, and it's illegal thing to do. That's how they saw it.
Yeah.
Did they back down after you were kind of countering them with what you know? And
so when it comes to CPS, I've learned that you only tell them so much, not so much, but of course, you be honest, you be open, you just be authentic, and you just let them know that you are well informed about everything, and that this is not something that you're just like, oh, I'm smoking and I'm pregnant. I was like, I've done my research and I did what I had to do. I just cooperated. They wanted to look around the house. I saw that you don't have to let them in because they will use that, that tactic. It's just kind of what they do. But I felt like there was really nothing to hide. And after having my son, I stopped smoking for a while. I wasn't consuming, so it was relevant to the time. And she asked if we were smoking, and I told her no, of course, because we weren't at the time. And they were just more concerned about how breastfeeding would have an effect on him if I was smoking. And they asked to drug test, and I told them no. I was like, it's, I don't mind you coming into the house, checking out, see if he's fine. And if you can see that everything's good, he's doubled in weight. Like, he has his midwives who come out and visit. Like, there's nothing wrong with my child. And she kind of just wasted her time. And she kind of saw that too. She's like, I really don't see why I'm here, but I just had to come and follow up. And I'm like, I'm glad you came to follow up just to make sure. But I was like, thanks for your concern. We're doing good over here. And eventually they just closed the case. I mean, because you have a right to say no. Like, I don't want to feel invaded in that way. And I felt like we weren't doing anything wrong, especially if I wasn't smoking anymore for a while. And I'm more focused on becoming a new mom.
Yeah.
I have other things going on in my head.
I think maybe they were just trying to see what's going on and what your story is, and then take it from there. Because
let's take it from there. I don't judge anybody based off of it. I mean, I know they do what they have to do. I think, like I said, it's just very important to be informed, because sometimes they can use that scare tactic on you and intimidate. It's very intimidating. It can be.
Absolutely.
They closed the case, and she said everything was fine. The baby's fine. And she's like, if you want to use, that's on you. Do it on your own time. Keep your stuff away. And I mean, that's normal etiquette, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in a legal state, so you have the right to use if you want to.
But out here, they will get you. I feel like it's a tougher thing because it's legal, technically.
Yeah.
They crack down on a lot more. Or they try to in that case.
Yeah, they look for a lot more. I mean, because I'm sure it's more common. I mean, I don't know. I'm talking kind of whatever, but recreationally, I feel like.
Oh, it's gone up. It's gone up substantially. It's been shown that ever since it's become recreationally and legal in many states, there's been an increase of pregnant women using it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's naturally going to happen.
I'm just surprised that no one's started asking questions like, who's doing the research? Okay, if we have these substantial amount of numbers, why isn't anybody taking the time to start developing the research instead of like targeting these moms? I mean, it's already stressful. You just went through birth, you just had a baby, and then you've got the doctors breathing down your back about your, cannabis consumption and how it affects your child. And so I just really think that it's time to like break that stigma and do the research.
But I don't even think it's just the stigma that is. I feel like there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar, and I feel like they don't want to do the research because they make money off all the other stuff. So why are they going to find something that's helpful and useful and, and will take money out of their pockets,
Hey. Thanks.
Hi, Dad.
Hey. Mommy.
Aww. Wow, look at that. He's impressing everybody. Nice job, Dad.
Thank you.
How cute.
Yeah.
And he takes the baby? Wow, I'm very impressed.
Oh, wow. For the listeners that aren't watching and are listening on the podcast, Sunflowerzee's husband just came over and gave her a bouquet of flowers and then took the baby off her hands.
I know. He's so amazing.
That's what Mother's Day dreams are made of. Oh my God.
Right?
Nice.
No, but I agree with what you had said though. Like that makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially when there's money involved in things.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We had an episode where we spoke to a doctor and he was talking about the politics and how the money, keeps the research and it keeps marijuana illegal and, what are you going to do? But, do you get any other questions in terms of like, does anybody ever come up to you and ask you about your experience with cannabis while you were pregnant? Like, have you had any other friends after you maybe get pregnant and be like, oh, tell me?
Yeah, I've actually had a few friends. I have two friends who just found out that they're pregnant and they're like, I want to smoke, I want to, consume. But I straight up told them, like, you got to first figure out why. Why do you even want to? Because, I mean, yeah, you can smoke. It's fine and dandy. If that's what you want to do, your choice. But, like, why? What's the point? If it doesn't really serve your greatest good, then I feel like it's okay to not indulge. You don't have to be like everybody if that's it. So yeah, I've had like a few friends come up to me and ask me lots of questions, or like including breastfeeding questions. Some friends who wanted to smoke and they're currently pregnant and they're like, I didn't because of the whole time I thought it was bad. And so just me even sharing little glimpses of my life and my story and journey, I feel like I've inspired others to really go searching for the answers for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. This is part of how we got here. And I feel like when you experience a miscarriage too, it kind of sets you into this place where you feel alone because there's not that much stuff out there for miscarriages. Like you also have to go searching far and wide to find anybody else's experiences. Even just hearing from other people about their experiences kind of makes you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's very isolating, having a miscarriage. And then all the feelings that come after it, like the guilt, did I do something wrong? Like then you see other people with brand new babies and you're just like, why can't I have that? Why didn't I get there? You feel so many crazy feelings about that, and you have to go on this journey of like searching for the information and sharing with other people who have had those same experiences. And
yeah, definitely.
But
yeah, it's pretty deep, like especially experiencing things like that and just trying to figure out like how you want to heal. What are the tools that are available to you? or how are you going to use what's available to you and incorporate it in your life to like kind of grow and heal that part of you that's now traumatized in a way. It was difficult. And I partially feel like, you know, even smoking now has really helped with the postpartum depression. I have a good support system, but I don't really feel like all the things I thought I was going to feel. And I would definitely have to give thanks for the cannabis for that, because, you know, some moms really don't cope very well. And I've noticed like my OCD kicked in.
Oh my God. As a new parent?
And I'm like, I try to like let go of things, but then I'm like, I just can't. I have to like.
Especially I feel like when my first kid, the first 2 weeks back with a new child, oh my God, that shit was crazy. Having a tough time with breastfeeding, feeling guilty about that, you know, feeling guilty because you're stressed because you haven't slept. I mean, the first few weeks, let me give you the peace of mind for your second one, okay? Because I know you want to have a second one, and it's like you're giving it some. I gave it a little bit of time, not too much. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. It's not I'm not gonna say easier, but it is easier in the sense that like you've already been there, you've already done that, you've already found what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and now you can apply that up to the second one, you know?
Yeah, I would have to agree. Technically it would be my third, but
right.
Even though you do got to tweak it a little because your kids are a little different.
Yeah.
Their personalities are different. Like you said, with the little one, she's way more needier than your first one was at that time. More vocal and more like.
Yeah, you have to adapt.
Good.
Huh?
I said I would hope that my third kid is good.
Don't count on it. Just like make already set that bar, because I mean it just in case, because maybe you do, maybe the second one, you know, my first one didn't nap and I was like, oh, maybe my second one's gonna be a loaf of bread and she's just gonna nap all the time. No, at all. So, but you know, don't let it scare you too, because you start thinking about, oh, a lot of people are out there saying second kid is the worst kid. If I would have had my second one first, I wouldn't have had a second one. But every experience is different and they'll each bring something to the table.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you said it earlier, if I missed it. How long after losing AJ was it before you had Tristan?
So AJ was with a previous relationship. Like I said, I was in high school, still 17. So I ended up graduating high school. It's been technically 7 years later. I met my husband in 2016. We were working at Vans together. Or 2017, actually, we were working at Vans together and hanging out. And then we had Tristan this year. So we got married in 2018, waited 2 years extra. So between the two, it was a total of about 7-8 years. I waited a long time.
Yeah, so you had a long time to heal and grow and get where you needed to be able to.
Yeah, I had a lot of time to heal. And I really, not that it was wrong the first time, but I wanted to get it right. I wanted to get married. I wanted a place of my own. I wanted to just be able to experience that, like official motherhood, you know, and dive deep into it without feeling like any guilt or pain. Yeah, I still feel that grief feeling, but it's not as heavy as it used to be. I can definitely work with it.
Yeah, it's always going to be there. Whenever you lose anybody, I feel like you adapt to the situation, you know, you don't really, it doesn't hurt any more, any less. It's just, you know, it's just is what it is. It flares up from time to time and you'll get really sad about it every once in a while, but you know, you always come back and Yeah, loss is definitely tough.
Yeah, I would agree. That even in itself was a whole nother journey. Like I get a lot of people who've asked me like the perspective and how to heal, and like some sisters will hit me up and they're like, my other sister went through this or my cousin went through this, I don't know how to help them. So I think that really helped me grow as a person as well, and realize that yes, the experience really sucked, but I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't be that resource for some people who are experiencing it who might not be in a good place right now. And so
Definitely.
I feel like that's what really keeps me going and really motivated me to just see a different light for everything. Just to know, like, if somebody needs me, I can be there. They can reach out.
That's
It's
fantastic. And I feel
great.
like that's so great. That's turning something. Always loved seeing people who turning negatives into positives and using their experience to help other people. So definitely thank you for being a resource to people who, are questioning
Mhm.
cannabis and pregnancy and even, loss and stuff like that. That's very, thank you for using your experiences to help other people. That's fantastic.
Well, thank you guys for having this platform, because I mean, without this platform, how could moms like us actually share?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we could do it on our own, but it takes a village, right?
Yeah, man, and support. I kind of want to bring it back to a few things that you said that I think are important, and I feel like it's support, and you find it wherever you can, and support helps a lot, and it goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I lost my train of thought. There was it was something else that I was gonna go with.
Hi, mom.
I know. And then I have so many things on my mind when we're recording podcasts and stuff. I want to make sure I get everything in.
Mm-hmm.
But support. And there was another thing that you mentioned that I thought was very interesting. It's like find your reason when your
Mm-hmm.
friend asked you, and it's like you know, it's not like you're using it recreationally. It's different because you're affecting your health and your baby's health. So
Right.
definitely, I think that's a great piece to share with people, is like asking yourself, why am I doing this? What is it for? What do I need it for in this situation? It's you really got to go into it deep, and you really got to educate yourself. And if we could provide resources, that's great, but we want to give the message of like, you have to go out and do your research and not stop here. Like, you have to ask yourself, and you have to do a lot of soul searching and
Mm-hmm.
questioning yourself and what kind of mother you want to be, and helping you decide whether or not you want to use cannabis during your pregnancy.
Right. Doing your research.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best thing anyone can do for themselves, is just be so self-educated, and also reach out to other people, gain perspective. I think perspective is just amazing. I mean, that's why we have podcasts, to gain perspective
Mhm.
on different topics. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, that's very insightful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, and then sometimes when you feel alone and you hear other people talk about it, it's like, it
I'm
feels,
not crazy.
yeah, I'm not as crazy as I thought I was. And other people think these things too, not just me.
And you know what? It actually makes you feel like you're managing pretty well. Like
Yeah.
you think that you have a lot of things. And I mean, control is a really big issue with us as humans in general, I think.
Especially
And
moms. Are you kidding me?
yes, especially being a mom, like trying to control how everything goes, like how people take care of the baby because they're not doing it how you do it because I'm the mom. But I mean, it comes with the territory. So it's like, I just take it one step at a time.
Yeah,
Take everything
absolutely.
one step at a time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a great conversation. I hope that we are able to do more of these in the future. I think you're a great resource, and I think you have a wonderful voice, and we appreciate you sharing your experience with us. Hopefully, our listeners will reach out to you, and you can, speak to them as well.
For sure. Join me for yoga one of
Yes,
these
that's what I
days.
was just about to say. And hopefully we'll be doing a yoga
A
session soon,
mom's yoga.
like beginner yoga, because I haven't done yoga in like I don't remember, since my early 20s, all right?
I'm terrible at that shit. I'm very bad at
been a long
yoga.
time.
Well, let's
Not
just
as
say
flexible, and the balance and the breathe, like,
yoga is definitely a begin where you are practice. So it doesn't really matter how long you've been out of practice. The moment you step on the mat, you're starting all over.
yep.
There's definitely, I do a lot of restorative and beginner yoga, so we're in luck.
All right.
Nice.
Too
You
crazy.
should go easy on us.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything about, like, was it prenatal yoga, like pregnant yoga?
Yeah, I did a little bit, but because I was so sick, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna eat in and out.
And tired, I'm sure.
All day.
It's so tiring.
Spoil yourself. Take care of yourself, but spoil yourself too when you're pregnant, man. Especially, like, people are willing to spoil you, so take advantage. You're like, oh, people are gonna treat me good, I'll take advantage.
Yeah. I used to use that. I'm pregnant, guys. I really need it.
I need ice cream today.
Please. It's like 11 o'clock at night.
Well,
Thank you
we'll definitely do
for
that.
having me. I love you, love you, love you. Sending all the light and love to you guys. And I'm really grateful that you guys allow me to be on the podcast, and you're doing what you're doing, and you're sharing, and just creating this platform. I think is just amazing, connecting with other moms and dads too.
Yeah, for sure. Even like fur baby, was it fur parents?
Fur moms.
Reach out to fur
Actually,
moms.
Today is fur mom day, like dog mom day today.
Dog mom day today?
Yeah, I saw it on the news. Like, I guess the Saturday before Mother's Day is dog mom day.
Okay, Sora.
There you go. See, I haven't heard mine. I hear my kids screaming in the background though. I'm like,
dog's like, yeah, that's right. That's my mama.
You support.
His paw goes up. So if you want to get in contact, Sunflowerzee on Instagram. She's at Sunflower, and then it's ZEE. We'll go ahead and we'll post up the information for you. Thanks so much for joining Pot Smoking Moms on this podcast. We hope you come back, share, rate, subscribe, love, and we'll catch you around real soon. Thanks so much.
Peace and love.